San Diego Comic-Con is right around the corner, and after being on a hiatus for about 3 years just due to the pandemic, it is now finally back. And a lot of people have been really wanting to get back to their normal lives and getting back to these conventions which they love so much. I was at Dallas Fan Expo about a week or two ago, and it was packed. It was so much fun, and now we're hopefully going to see a large amount of people going to San Diego this year due to the tickets that were purchased back in 2019 when all of this went down, or 2020. Those tickets have been repurposed for this year. So people have been hanging on to their tickets for 2 to 3 years now in anticipation for going to San Diego Comic-Con. But unfortunately, the bad news for a lot of these people is that they are going to see that there will not be a DC or Warner Brothers Comic-Con booth at the convention. An article from The Hollywood Reporter states that House of the Dragon, The Sandman, and Harley Quinn will be showcased in a big way as Warner Brothers Discovery, still fresh from its merger, hits its first ever San Diego Comic-Con next month. However, for the first time, Warner's, including DC, will have no presence on the convention floor, a move that breaks with decades of precedent. So even though DC and Warner Brothers Discovery are not going to have an actual booth set up, they are going to have some sort of presence in the terms of showcasing their films and TV shows and some of those panels. I believe even Jim Lee is supposed to speak on one of those panels. But overall, the grandeur, the massive presence of the DC booth, which if you have been to San Diego Comic-Con, you know how massive it can be, that is just simply not going to exist this year. In years previous, you could see the booth and they had costumes from all the movies, they had celebrities doing signings, they had paintings and artwork, they had merchandise, they had statues. I remember Sideshow had put up an entire statue collection in the DC booth. So we are not just talking about a table with a few comics on it and a guy standing behind it asking you to come pick them up. We are talking about a massive presence here from DC that will be lacking in this year's Comic-Con. The article also states that the new CEO, David Zaslav, will be trying to cut costs of about $3 billion for this company, starting with the marketing here at Comic-Con, which, if you factor in all the different things that come into play here, like, you know, the hotels, the lodging, you have the food, you have the travel, you have the booth itself, we're talking of about a minimum of around $25 million, which still is only maybe even a little bit less than 1% of what Zaslav is trying to cut from this budget, but it sounds like this is where he's trying to make his start. And to be fair, I kind of understand where he's coming from, because if he looks at probably the sales of all the things that they're trying to sell right now, whether it's comic books, movies, television shows, or merchandise like t-shirts, hats, backpacks, stuff like that, if they looked at the profit margins, I'm sure comic books unfortunately would come out at the lesser end of all four of those different mediums, because the movies rake in a ton of money. Even the TV shows that aren't being watched a lot, still those are making money. And merchandise, I mean, think about any Target or Hot Topic you walk into, you see Superman, Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, all the Justice League t-shirts and hats, everything that you can think of are being bought by people who probably most likely haven't read the comics whatsoever. The other thing that I think we have to talk about here is the drama behind Ezra Miller and Amber Heard. Of course, their names have been massively portrayed all over the news, negatively, I might add. And so with that negative press, I don't think Zaslav wants those two attached to the DC name, and especially with a huge booth with their faces all over it, I'm sure he does not want anything to do with that right now until things kind of cool down. But fear not, because even though they won't have a booth, hey, at least they'll have a backpack for you that you can pick up. Jim Lee actually did a drawing, or a few drawings, for the exclusive backpacks for the Comic-Con. And if you guys actually check out the picture, the four main characters in the front of these backpacks are Shazam, Black Adam, Aquaman, and the Supergirl that no one asked for. I'm sure that these are trying to promote the films, of course, because even Batman, who is the biggest selling title in the comics industry right now for DC and probably for Marvel, but Batman is outselling everything, and yet they still have him second fiddle comparatively to their big movie names like Aquaman, Black Adam, Shazam, and this new Supergirl, like I said. But where is Michael Turner's Supergirl? Because that's the one that I want to see portrayed. And even one of my channel members reached out to me and showed me that even on the backpack, if you look, you can barely see Superman. I didn't even see him on the backpack until someone told me that he was on there. And then I had to look and actually see, oh, yeah, there he is, pointed him out for me. It's like a Where's Waldo? So why am I bringing this up? Why am I even mentioning that DC isn't going to have a booth? Of course, once people get to the actual Comic-Con, they're going to see the massive lack of presence there and the giant hole that's going to leave with Warner Brothers Discovery and DC not having that big stretch of land in the convention. So why am I bringing this up? I think essentially what this means is that we're going to see some drastic changes from Zaslav, which may actually impact for the better the future of DC, whether he's getting rid of the marketing decisions that they are going to have for the comic book market, or whether he gets rid of comic books altogether and just goes simply digital. Or maybe they go to print, but now they're only doing 1 or 2 titles every month, like a Batman or a Superman, or a Batman or a Harley Quinn, which are probably their most 2 popular right now. Those might be the decisions that he has to make when he looks at the profit margins and says, where can we cut costs? What is not bringing us in the money right now that we need to start dumbing down? Maybe that's getting rid of creators or editors or whatnot. But Zaslav is a businessman at the end of the day. He's going to come in and he's going to trim the fat, and that might mean saying bye to a lot of our comics that we pick up every week or every month. So I'm not really sure. I would love to get your guys' take on this. What do you think this means for the future of DC? Do you see that this is going to be an impact with their marketing for the future? Is this a negative impact for their future with not having this booth here? I would love to hear from you. Please leave it in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next video, and thanks again for watching.